Hello, and welcome back to another Plain Explain. Here I 3-bet this guy. I think I have any under the jack. I think mainly we're betting 3-bet and half pot on this board, and I think this hand is a pretty good hand for 1/3. Even though we rolled a higher number, I think when I'm mixing, I'll just go with the hand that I prefer, unless I think it's like a pure mix, like aces or something like this, where I don't want to be too face up. I think when it comes down to kicker and backdoor draw and stuff, it's a little less exploitable. Obviously, you have to be a little more raised than higher equity, less equity, depending on the size you bet. But actually, I think aces just doesn't need to go too big. I think ace jack and stuff would be. I don't know. Might have the wrong read there. A lot of shit to review. Yeah, the session's going. I don't even know. I actually have no clue. I think I am down a good amount, but I could be wrong. We did stack a guy on one table with the aces full. Going to be 3-betting this one to 6.5 on the number we rolled. This hand does get very tight, but we rolled a pretty good number. I think it has to reroll again on a 75. This might just fold pure, but I think on a 75, I think it can call. Obviously, it performs really bad on queen jack 10, or like you just have a queen 10 X board. Your straight draw is like pretty shit. But I think we should actually call here versus guy, because even though he's really tight, I'm just gonna fold it actually. I think it might be a pure fold. And then here we're just going to reopen big. I don't know. I'm kind of out of it. Playing too many tables is kind of challenging for me. Oh, and talking. Queen 10, I'm going to just be 3-betting this hand pure. I think there's a 4-bet we're supposed to call this hand. People naturally don't, I think, respond properly in this position. Like you don't get 4-bet bluffed too much in that spot. As much as you probably should. But yeah, I filmed 2 videos yesterday and my mic wasn't working either. But I lost like 5 binds or 4 binds yesterday, so it was pretty whatever. Some crazy hands. And running pretty below all in EV. I'm gonna just be defending this here versus fish. 3.5, wow. And now here on the 5 pairs, I literally have no clue. He's supposed to bet 1/3 on the spot, so now we're just playing fantasy poker. Trying to think what performs better versus this player, and I think it's just going for value. I think, yeah. Trying to think. I think he actually will start to fold ace-x when we overbet versus player, so we'll just bet big. Might be missing value here, especially if he has a pair. It's not going to show me what I had. Oof. I think versus the fish there, we could go for the overbet. If I'm being honest, I think we're supposed to in theory. But some of these people, yeah. I'm gonna be checking like basically range here. Gonna check now, again. And going to be checking again, I think. Actually, we might be able to get value here. Wow, now this is an odd hand. I expect him to actually have a lot of 6x at the pace he was playing. I am gonna fold this hand. If he is bluffing, he's bluffing, whatever. Maybe I should have called. The block did make things weird. King 10, even with the fish in the pot, I think it's too weak. Definitely increasing my small blind flattening range for this guy. But King 10 just performs so bad multi-way, it doesn't really matter that he's a weaker player. Going to be folding here. With the ace jack suited. Or the ace jack off. Would call ace jack suited, and I have ace jack suited here. What happened up here? Straight into boat. This guy just hit the boat. That's good for us. We are at all the tables, I believe. Yes. I called off an all-in with ace jack offsuit today, or ace jack suited. 80 bigs. Not my brightest moment, but it is what it is. I had a read on a certain like insanely big whale, or not a read, but I just thought I would be. I mean, maybe it's still okay, but the more I thought about it, I thought it wasn't as good as I initially thought. Thought it was just like you actually had a hand. The guy was a complete spew. I think here I don't mind the overbet reopen. Expect it to work a lot versus this player. The overbet probe. Sometimes I say reopen and I literally mean probe. I don't know why I say it. It sounds pretty dumb. I sound like I'm just using jargon to sound smart, but it's not really what I'm thinking. I think here we're just calling so often. I don't think we raise too much of this board. I do think you need to build a raising range. Just letting him realize all of his equity for free is kind of like, And ace king isn't the only hand you're getting in stacks with here. But I do think you're probably in pretty big bluff catchy mode on this board. And I think we're just going to have to call again here. Just to defend enough hands. And I think a jack can win. I think a jack can call the river here, funny enough. I think he's supposed to give up spades. Ah, that sucks. Now I lose to an ace. I'm going to check. I think he has to bluff that hand. I don't get what he's doing. I get it, like I might have an ace-x advantage, but I don't know. Not having a pair or anything that interacts with the board. I don't know if I forgot to range bet. Here I should probably size down a little to 7 maybe at his depth. But then again, it's pretty, it doesn't matter. It kind of does, but it's not something that, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's like pretty weird, but wow. I think here you can mix big bet and half pot. I think half pot range is just a pretty solid strategy. I think he actually starts to flat a lot of his jack X, and you never have pocket eight. So I actually think this board compared to like a cutoff board, you would just be blasting it. I think here you actually have to be a little more careful, but I still think this hand wants to bet a lot. It could actually check sometimes. I could see it. Just have some flushes in the checking range. But versus Musty, I don't think it matters enough. Versus like a different type of like maybe overthinking rig. Not overthinking, just a thinking player. I would like it because it's very disguised and unintuitive to play versus. But I think versus this player, putting half pot in the pot just makes the most sense. And I think we have a good hand to check turn now. I think most of my hearts check turn. On this number, we'll just call the eights. I think most of my hearts check turn. Actually, that's not true. I think we're supposed to barrel a lot here and probably just call off. I don't mind just checking in the spot and probably bluff catching river. It's funny because I don't expect him to ever bluff this river, but at the same time, it's like, yeah. And we're just gonna bet here now and hope he gets called. I think he has a lower pocket pair a lot. I don't think he would ever take this line with a hand like queens. So I'd probably just bet call, even though I don't think it's bluffed, just because we have a jack. And like the only hand that would take this line is probably pocket jacks, maybe aces. Obviously an 8 also. But I don't think he's check raising with queens here. I could be wrong, but it just seems like not the type of thing this player would do. Also, he doesn't seem like the type of player to have bluffs here. But having a jack, I probably will just call. It's just such a non-bluff spot ever. So maybe I'd just fold. But then again, when you start thinking like that, you start insanely overfolding. Like, would I rather have? I'm trying to think. Would I rather have aces here or king jack? I think king jack's better. It's just hard for me to see king jack being good. For some people who will check shove queens there, obviously you'd rather have aces. But I feel like the hand he's repping is just pocket jacks. I'm just gonna check here. Gonna check again. On the river, I still think it's too thin for value. Yeah. Here, do we want to bluff? I don't think so. I think our hand is enough showdown. I think he has a lot of pairs here. Okay, we chop. Which is good. Not range winning that board is crazy. By the way. I don't know, these videos are kind of probably low quality when I am playing too many tables. I think here with the 2 fish in, I'm gonna end the fish in the big. We're never folding this hand. We're just gonna be calling it in the small. Hoping this guy has spades. He donk leads. We're just gonna play this hand very aggressive. If I get stacked, I get stacked. Versus this guy, I think we just have to fold the king queen suited, unfortunately. It's like the only world where we don't see a flop. When Mikey raises, I think we're just going to call. I think he's just so weighted to a hand that is calling off. It kind of sucks that this guy folded. And here I think we just have to call. And we're gonna donk shove the river if we hit a spade. Unfortunately, we just brick it out the run out. Hopefully he gives up his spades. Hopefully he has like 8-9 of spades, or not 8-9 of spades. I don't even know, king queen of spades. But yeah, he's gonna tank forever and then shove. We're gonna fold. I think we're still priced in on the river to call with our nut spades. It's one of those spots where you're out of position and you feel like you're not getting paid on the river, so you almost feel like you need direct odds because your hand is so face up. But versus this player, I'm just going to call. I think if a spade hit the river, I would have donked. If I upload this video, I'll look at this in the... oh my god. Why does it do that? Going to be 3-betting, pretty small versus this guy. Since he is shorter. Probably 7. I don't know how often. I think out of position you still have to actually start folding stuff here. I think versus this player, I still think we want to basically bet enough to get our hand in. I think 1/3 might be good enough. I think not having a diamond here is pretty sus though. And since there's a lot of bad turns, I think betting half pot with dynamic makes a lot of sense, but we'll go 1/3 there. Gonna call here versus the recreational. Hoping to hit something. I think here we have to continue. I don't mind block betting on the... I don't expect them to check back too much queen X, so... Versus recreational, I'm not thinking about necessarily how my hand plays in theory perfectly, but... also just the hand in general. Blind versus blind here, gonna be, obviously, opening tens. Here, I think our hand can check back a good amount. I think you can't range bet this board. But I don't know if ace jack of spades becomes like a barrel. I think here we have a pretty decent hand to reopen for half pot. We get called by some worse, but we also get called by... We get called by better. We also... I don't think we fold out better. So maybe this is still just a check. I'm going to check the river though. That's unfortunate. Pretty strong hand on the top right. Oh, and here. Here we have to be pretty careful. I still think this hand, you have to be checking like very high percent here. But I still think this hand actually is pretty good to bet. We're gonna go 13 here. On this turn, I actually just like betting. And here I'm just not folding. My good jack, he just has aces, okay. Hopefully my opponent has like king 3. He has the straight. Pretty unfortunate. I think this hand starts to mix from the cutoff. This hand is just pure fold. I will fold it, even though I rolled a high number. Gonna be ISOing the fish here. This hand is very weak. Pretty much the bottom of the ISO range, but I still think it's profitable versus opponent. I don't know how often he actually limps, because sometimes when fish never limp, when they limp they always have a trap. But this hand is pretty okay at folding. On a 1 here, king jack can fold. I think with the short fish and the big one, maybe it's just pure. But maybe it makes it less of an open. I don't know. It's a weird spot. Here, I think you can do both. I don't think you're really ever checking. On the when it's two-toned, I think you actually do play just overbet or check. I think this spot is like never checking and then you mix overbets. I think we play one size in the river. We're basically betting hands that lose to a king, trying to get value with our good 10x. I think the size is pretty good. 75 should be pretty good. Obviously, I have a very good hand to not get bluffed. We needed that 10 to be a 9. Ace 4 off, gonna just be calling here. I don't know. I don't think it ever gets in the 3-bet bluff from these spots. Could be wrong though. I don't know. My brother is like screaming in the other room. Where's the overbet here? We just have a clear fold. Ace 8 on an 18. I also don't think ace 8's getting here too often. Here I think we have a pretty good hand to bet. I don't know how polar we go. I think block bet here makes a lot of sense actually with our range. I'm trying to think what our range wants to do. I think we don't have that much king x. I mean, he's not supposed to check this board too. I'm gonna go with the block. I don't know why. My hand performs terrible as a block, which makes me feel like I might as well just check. But I don't know, it's such a weird board. I will review that. On a 39, deeper, I think deeper we can call this it's a lot. When he doesn't size up. I mean, he did kind of size up, I guess. Gonna be defending here, especially with the club. On when the pair board it matters a little less, but it still matters. So close yet so far. On the turn here, we block bluffs now with the ace 8 of clubs, so it actually is pretty relevant. The thing is like how often do I really fold a pair here? I think the answer is maybe often, but not too often. I think I'm going to call once more. Maybe we'd rather not have the 8 of clubs here. Having an under to the 10. We don't 4-bet too aggressively. We actually have a lot of the higher pairs, but I still think this hand should be a call. Damn, we just... Crazy. So close. I think our hand can be a bluff here sometimes. On the river. Funny enough. Oof. Yeah, I don't think he reopens jacks there. That would be a mistake, I think. Here I'm going to just bet I have trips. After checking flop here, I probably should have bet 1/3 on the flop. Here... So I check flop, he bets, I think I flatted. I'm kind of forgetting action. I'm just gonna check, alright, we have a pretty... I don't know. It's basically the worst hand we could have here, but it's also we don't have much 6x, so I don't think we can just bet all over non-showdown. He's supposed to win more often, I think. Okay, perfect. Also, we beat hands like this that might check. Alright, we flopped the open ender. I think on this board we have to be pretty passive. We did roll a 91 though. So I think we can big bet. I don't expect to get shoved. He's not supposed to shove on this too much. Big bet here might not be a thing though. Maybe we'll just play half. Actually, I think it's 75 or check here. I think might be the line. We're basically repping strong hands, and then we have to defend our checking range, and we rolled a really high number. So I'm okay with it. Obviously, we have none of the sets. So we have 10s, actually. That's a lie. But I think you really need to play big bet there to make a lot of your opponent's hands indifferent. I think half pot they can all just float. Or like a lot of them. A lot of like, he doesn't get a lot of marginal hands. Like, he has hands he can toss, but a lot of his hands will be 2-overs with a backdoor flush draw or a pair that can just continue in position. Well, I could be wrong. Maybe it's a half pot spot. And I think here on a 91, this hand should be doing it. Not necessarily the best suit, but having a backdoor flush draw does make your hand stronger. 6-5 of clubs is probably pure checking. It might be the inverse. You don't want to get shoved out the equity, but I don't know how often in practice he's supposed to be shoving there. Like, not many of our hands are 6-5 suited. Like, obviously, if we had a lot of draws, then he would want to deny equity. But in position, also, it's not like he's out of position. Denying equity matters more when you are out of position. Your opponent's barreling. Because he can check back the turn and realize, so he can almost get, like, double up on a card. He can almost see 2 cards. And he can also choose to not bluff the river if he misses. So he can be free rolling you basically with his bet. Gonna just check back here. It's kind of funny because we have such an underhand here, but opponent actually is supposed to have the hands that beat us probably pure in practice. But I'm gonna be raising. I'm just gonna pick like a good size versus this guy, this fish. Gonna bet again here. Oh, I should have just sat out when I accidentally sat out with the pure open, because I don't want to play heads up. Huh. We don't block King 10 hearts, we block Ace 10 suited. But I think this board we can almost just play this. I could be wrong. Let's close the table. I don't know how often you were betting. I think with the King of Hearts I don't mind just checking this hand. Obviously the Ace of Hearts would probably be a little better, but... maybe we are supposed to just triple this one in. In practice I just don't know how often we get called by worse. The more I think about it, I'm just gonna bet this hand. But it puts us in an uncomfortable spot. I think 10x actually is decently common in the spot. You know what? I'm gonna check because it just plays smoother. But I'll look at the spot after. I'm sure we're probably supposed to just triple ace king for value here. If he has trips, he has trips. Going to just be calling here. You see, this kind of sucks because now you can just bet small and then check back river. If he shoves, I don't know what we call. I think not having the double blocker to the 10 is pretty bad, but I don't know how you fold ace king. Pretty easy decision here. I don't even know. Maybe we shove our hand for value. But I don't think so. I think we'll just call. Yeah, I think we misplayed this hand heavily. Very, very fishy hand by me. I don't know. His river bet is a little weird. I think he has to go for it. Like, I don't only have ace king. I have other ace x. I think he might even have to bet bigger. I don't like the way I played that at all. I'm pretty ashamed of myself. But you know what? Maybe we played it perfect. Who knows? I wish I had the double blocker. It's kind of annoying not having the double blocker there. Like, you have so many hands with a double blocker, right? Like, you have all the ace king suited. The ace literally blocks the 10. So there's only one, unless you have the ace of hearts, you're gonna unblock the 10, and then you just don't need the king of hearts. So like, I'd say like almost more than half your ace kings, right? Double block it. I like squeezing here. There's no insane fish. So I could be wrong about this though. Just gonna go to 7.5 for the short stack fish. Alright, now here I think we're going to just bet pretty aggressively. I think on the flop we'll go half pot, not having a club versus a recreational. These are recreationals, so I don't mind just hammering the hand. I think a better strategy might be to play small because he basically doesn't have that many strong hands there on that board. But the board was pretty low, and he was calling a lot to 3-bet, so he probably actually connects with that low board a decent amount. So I don't mind sizing up. Gonna be checking back here, basically pure. If you're with 10s, I'm sure it's sometimes a get in, but I think on a 5, it's most of the time gonna be a call. This opponent does play pretty solid pre. I think we just have a pure call here, even without a heart. I don't think our hand folds too often. He's supposed to probably just bet small again, and we're supposed to fold. He checks on the snap checks. That makes me think he hit it. Practice, that's usually what happens, but don't think our hand becomes a bluff. I think we have other worse pairs and non-made hands to bluff. I think if he checks this one again, we're just going to have to check. Don't expect to ever win, but that doesn't really matter. Yeah. If we have the other pairs, I think he just has a bad ace. Or he has pocket kings, and he's like very telegraphed. I don't know about his snap check there. It's kind of telling. I think we have worse hands there to bluff than 10s. In theory, he never really has underpairs to the 10. But we also block his like actual airball hands. Like, let's say he doesn't want to bluff Jack 10 now. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we are supposed to bluff. Maybe in practice it works out better. I just felt like he had ace-x. But then when he checked river, I was like, maybe he doesn't. Just weird to snap check when the ace comes. Like, that face up. I always give my opponents too much credit, I think. This hand is like a pure fold, but this guy is a fish. But I still think, I don't know. We'll stay solid. On an 8 here, I think this hand's still pure open from the cutoff. Okay, what is this? Is this a misclick? This almost makes me want to 4-bet him. 3-bet him as a bluff, but we got such a good price, we're gonna call. Wow. Feel like he misclicked, so I'm not gonna be raising too aggressively. This is my read. The overbet. Just going to tank call this one. Don't think we raise this hand. I don't think we bet here to deny spades. It's just whatever. We also technically block 2 of the spades with the 2 and the queen coming off. So we will just call. If he has pocket kings, that is just so unfortunate. But we're just gonna check. We're gonna have to overfold this river a lot. He actually has a pretty decent value of a gem. But yeah, he misclicked pre and got stacked for it. That hand I actually do think is too thin. I'm gonna actually take back my statement. I think that is actually too thin. Like we obviously do have to bluff catch the spot, but I think this is too thin. Having the jack of spades is actually good by the river because you block king jack of spades, so you actually can go thinner for value. But I think it's too thin. What a crazy hand. I queen 6, I flop trips. Good thing I didn't look into it too much and get shoved on. Just this I think is just a pure 3-bet. Versus the 4-bet, I think this hand actually shoves a lot, but in practice I don't think it performs too well because people are just only 4-bet calling off in position. Just gonna flat the 10-9 here versus Mikey when there's 2 fish behind me. He did go to 3x, so 3-bet becomes more profitable and the other stuff becomes less. But yeah. Going to focus on just uploading a video, even if it's slightly bad quality, and I don't feel like I'm playing the best, you know. You can't be your absolute nuts every day, you know. Sometimes you're just not thinking about poker in a way you want to be. On a 12, I think this hand's just gonna fold. And here I just think reopening here performs so good, so I'm going to do that. I used the word reopen properly, thank God. I was watching myself play, I was like, what am I talking about? Like when I play, I'm just like so, I don't know. This board over here, agreed. I think your block performs pretty well. So we're going to do that. I think maybe with an ace, we don't. This is such a funny line to check, because we just never have an ace. Like, I don't know. Like, it's like, why is he blocking an ace? I just felt like I play block as a one size. Obviously, we might just be coolered here. Yeah. I was thinking he's so weighted ace high that we're probably not even always good. But funny hand. My hand is so disguised on the river. Obviously, like, we're good the amount, like, a ridiculous amount for how the odds we're getting on a call. Gonna be ISOing this guy. We did this once earlier with 8-7 off, so. Here with the double unblocker, I think you just check back pure. From these positions though, you might just be betting your range, but if there was a check, it's gonna be this, so we're gonna check. Gonna fold here. And we rolled a low number. I think here now this hand starts to get in here. We block, like, you might have queens and kings. This guy actually might have kings in this spot. We also block like queen jack suited, king jack suited to be checking. So we are going to reopen now. The thing is, it's really hard to imagine I'm checking diamonds on this board, I'm gonna be honest. But I could have hit the jack. And the jack is good enough to bet. Queen jack of spades, king jack of clubs. But yeah, there with the double blocker, you're blocking a lot of your opponent's folding range here. With queen jack suited, queen jack of spades, king queen of spades, king jack of spades. Or king jack of clubs. And you're sorry, and also not that. The difference between having a hand like king queen suited is you're double blocking king queen and king queen. Compared to if you had king queen of spades, you wouldn't be doing that. Because they only have the suited combos. When you have the offsuit combos, you actually double block the suited combos. Here, not much to talk about. I think the sizing, 26 seems like a good. I think 25 when he sizes this down. We'll go 25 here. I think 24 might be better actually. In position here. The fish calls me and we flop 9 high. I think we can be very aggressive. Like I'm basically overbet. He's supposed to never have a deuce. In theory. So we will just big bet this hand. Can be very aggressive on this board normally. I think we go for 2 streets here. And then even if we're outkicked, the odds that if the river comes in over, we can just check it back and chop. I think here we're supposed to overbet, but I think big bet with my hand and predictor plays better. This guy's a recreational, so I don't really care. If I had another type of hand, I would just be overbetting. Wow. I think we're gonna have to call and evaluate. I don't see how we can fold here. But it really does scream pocket fours. Oh my god. There's just no way. The snap check. I think we obviously have to shove our hand. It's kind of sad because it's like how often do we have a 9 here and T check? That's the difference between if we had pocket 10s, but I still don't think he's gonna fold trips. I think he has a bluff a lot of the time here. Oh my god. Wow. Oh my god. I thought the 9 was coming, that's what I said. Like, I personally, dude, I saw Jeremy play the exact same board. It was 6 deuce deuce the other day. Or not the other day, I was rewatching a really old video of his, where he's playing on ACR. And, he has this exact same spot, guy flat small blind, recreational. And the guy's ace deuce suited, where he's not supposed to have a deuce. And he, had an overpair. I obviously had top pair in this hand. But, the guy just had ace deuce and the guy had ace deuce in mine. This is literally the 2 times I've ever played this flop, basically. Where it's just small blind deuce paired. I'm sure I've played it slightly more than that, but I think we actually do bet this board, and when we do bet, I think we want to actually rep something. Generally playing pretty passive here and checking a lot, but I think ace 10 is just a strong hand. Or not that, it's like it needs protection, I don't know. But I don't know, I'll look at that. My main interest is improving my blind versus blind. I've noticed a lot of my like huge EV mistakes that I make are blind versus blind plays. 3-bet pots, I'm pretty solid. In position versus the big one, I'm pretty solid. And in the big, it's hard to make. Okay, that's such a lie. It's really easy to make huge EV errors in the big. But in the big, I'm also decently solid. So I think versus blind, like super wide range spots, I can sometimes be a little, I don't know. It's really hard to have all your things covered. So that's my main, especially particularly in the small blind. I think in the big you're always almost reacting to what your opponent's doing. So theory in the big becomes very weird because I don't know, you can just look at a spot, and if you're playing for a lot recreationals a lot of the time, or just toilet regs, like I mostly am, like who are just randomly like you study a spot and you're okay, opponent's supposed to range bet king 5 king, right? Or king king 5. I don't know why I said king 5 king, but and you look at the spot. Sorry, I just lose my train of thought so fast. And you look at the spot, and they just check. It's like, okay, well, I'm just reacting. What do I think he's checking with? What is it? Like, you're not playing theory at all anymore. They just completely off your game. Obviously, you can play theory. Like, you're supposed to still, like, let's say it was just some like insane reg and he's losing 0 EV for checking, or losing like a little bit, but you don't know what you're doing. Then maybe he can be exploiting you in a smart way. But that's not happening. That's not usually what's happening. Usually when people make EV errors, they're just making EV errors. I think this hand 3-bet sometimes. Almost positive with this. And we roll a high number. Yeah. So I think studying the small blind is more important to me. I think especially how people play the small blind is differentiates from player to player. So studying the big versus small, it's very important, but you can't apply it instantly. I think playing perfect from the small blind, especially on the flop versus the big, Very important. And I think I'm making too many. I'm too uncertain in too many spots for how common it is. So I'm going to be looking at it a lot. Here I think we just have to fold. We have stronger hands. Obviously, river the trips. I actually can't believe when he snap checked too. It's just like I felt like he had to have value. Just because if he was bluffing, I feel like he would have just gone with it on that card. He still, funny enough, should have shoved his hand because I'm never shoved. Like he's just always getting stacked when I reopen. Like, is anyone really bluffing that spot? Like, do I have air? No. So if he checks, he's supposed to basically just have folds because I don't really have anything that can bluff the river that's like profitable. Just gonna fold this hand here. Here after I take this long, I'm just gonna fold. I think this hand is not 3-betting pure. It's because when he check raises it there, am I gonna call like king queen suited and then like it was a rainbow board? So in practice, he should just shove to get value from my overpairs. Obviously, it's like huge recreational, but when you check there in that spot, you're just almost always getting stacked. And it's like if you're gonna check, like it's one thing if you're gonna check and then think and fold, but if you're going to check call, which he should with that hand, I still think like because then I actually like would just be able to bluff everything because he's never raising a 9 that much. Yeah, 4 is definitely still good enough. Going to I think you can 3-bet sometimes, but we didn't roll high enough, remember. Trying to think if this hand ever raises. I think he could. I think it wants to. I think having an over to the 6 is pretty good. So we will raise this hand for protection / value. I think here now when you raise you're supposed to down bet, but I think our hand is so weak, like we don't mind checking. But we picked up a straight draw, so I'm going to just bet a third here now. Okay. Oh my god. Thank god he had run it twice on. What the hell? So frustrating. Easy fold here. Okay, we got this guy in. Man, thank god the fish had run it twice on. What the hell? I always like running it twice. Wow. I'm gonna 3-bet to 11 versus Mikey. We are a little deeper, so I'm sure it starts to... I'm not gonna play heads up even though. What is going on? This leaderboard run must be absurd. Oh, it's actually pretty good. Musty is very tight from EP. I think we can actually start to flat here. This guy's just all in blind for $100. Okay. We rolled a really low number. This gets weird because we are deeper. Here he sizes up. I think I'm going to call once. Don't think I'm going to play too many raises on this board. Going to check. This is just hilarious. The games are good. Technically a call. If I was in the big, I guess I'm supposed to. And now here we're just supposed to check range. Because yeah, he's supposed to free roll us with an ace here. Because we're supposed to really never have ace king. Dude, if he checked an ace here, I'm actually going to, like, cry. Okay, good. Hand should have gone in pre, so I kind of lost money. But this guy just has a 4% 3-bet. It just seems like... He doesn't, like, look at his fold to 4-bet. He just doesn't have raise folds. Just going to fold here, even versus the fish in the big. Is he just going to go all in versus the open? Hopefully he folds. Oh. Hopefully he wins. Wow. Oh, I fold ace 10 though. And he still hits a 10. No way. Give him a 4. Give him a 4. That's so sick. think 9-5 here on a 73. I think it mixes defends. I could be wrong. Alright. Let me show my ace-10. He didn't reload? No way. No way, man. This guy just lucky bastard gets ace-10. And he got in the position where he got to open it. It's like funny spot. Like if the rolls are reversed, he's probably folding. And I'm just gonna call the guy. Like if the positions are swapped. It's like normally you'd rather be on the bottom, but in that spot it's almost like... It's funny because in that spot if I have aces, I think that guy's jamming so much I might just flat. Because then this guy calls, or he might ISO shove me, and then I would just snap him off. Anyway, play a couple more interesting hands and then I'm gonna call it. I don't know how long I've been playing this entire session for. 2 hours. Would have been nice to win the aces into sixes. I don't see how I can get off with this guy at the table. Obviously, let's see if we can hunt down that guy who's just straddling off his stack. If he's at the 1k, I think we might have to make an exception and play 1k today. You know what, I might buy in the min. And if this guy shoves, just have hands that can call. So I'm not rolled for the game, but this guy's just a next level spew. You know what, I might keep recording because this is just going to be hilarious to watch. Oh, I don't want to be... Wait, if I do this... Now am I forced to just have him? No. Can I turn off all... Oh, I am. Okay, you know what, it's still worth it. Let's do it. Am I at the right table? I might have logged into the wrong one. Okay. I'm not rolled for this game. Some people would play this game with my roll, but I'm pretty nitty with my bankroll. So I'm just going to play a little overly tight in this game and probably drop some EV. Here versus opponent on this number, we will call. Here I think we just have to call with this pocket 7, speed B, drastically overfolding. Here when the flush gets there, we actually do have good blockers to it. I think I'm going to call. This Mikey's guy is so nitty though that I think in practice this just might perform better as a fold. Like there's just no need to bluff catch this guy. He's not going all in blind, so we'll see how he's playing. I might just fold out. If he's playing like decently normal after an orbit, I might just fold. Just like leave, because I don't know. There's something about me, like I'm pretty disciplined. Here I'm just going to mainly be calling. Oh wow. Let's play a $2,000 pot. I think here we actually have a decent hand to like kind of trap and induce a shove from this guy. I'm gonna go for it. Okay. This would suck if he wakes up with a hand that beats my hand. Because he might ISO shove, and I think I'm gonna call. This is crazy. I think I'm going to shove. This is so crazy, $1,000. Hopefully he folds. Here we could actually, I think we have the right hand all in. Thank God he folded, holy shit. Run it once. Pretty good start. Don't do it to me. My heart was kind of pounding, not gonna lie. I've played way bigger pots in Vegas, and honestly, I played bigger pots here. I think it's just the manner I would have that I would have had to lose the money would have been kind of frustrating. But this guy's sitting out. I still think I'll open sixes, whatever. This guy's so mad. It kind of sucks the other guy didn't just call because I flopped a set. Ace 8 here, I might just let it go because whatever. Well, that was a fun hit and run, the 1K. It's hilarious. When you flop the set, you're almost wishing the guy called, right? Would have been a hilarious video, eh? But I was pretty relieved he didn't have a hand. I just figure he's ISOing the fish because it's a fish and he thinks I'm capped. So he's like calling off the all-in, but he doesn't want me in there. So he might as well raise, and then I ISO shove and pick up the free money. He actually had a stronger hand, but we saw what he was doing going all in blind. Anyway, I'm gonna call the video here. I'll finish the 9s in. This is more like just entertainment. It wasn't even that like too much information going. I'll play to my big because I'm done my session. So I'll play to my bigs. And call it. Well, that was a little fun. This guy is like pretty unknown. I think we're just going to call here. I think at this depth I'm pretty comfortable with stacking off an ace and our queen. I don't know too much about the opponent. But yeah. Alright, now we have an easy decision. Did this guy rebuy in the... No, someone else also joined. Just hit and run. We hunted him down. That's hilarious. Wow, this guy wakes up with aces. Here I just play over better check. Or big better check, I think, from this position. I think ace queen almost always doing it. Like, you have to roll a really low number. I think the ace of hearts is pretty good, though. I think this hand is still good enough to bet half pot for value. Wow. Here I think... Wow, we rolled a 100. I think our hand can cold shove. 44, I'm just going to fold here. I'm going to check this one back. Just going to call here pure versus this opponent. He doesn't really bluff too much, so maybe it's just more profitable to get the hand in differently. Oh, I forgot to set out this big. So we'll call it when the other two tables are done. I think this hand can raise a lot on the flop. I think we have actually a pretty okay time just jamming now. We rolled a pretty high number. We don't block hearts. You bet big. So we go all in. If he has it, he has it. He 3-bets 4%. So it's kind of feels bad, man. But he's tanking. Is it really much of a decision with the hands above this one? I don't know. I don't think so. Alright. I think he's supposed to call off ace king there, by the way. Like, he has 24% versus my hand, right? Or something like that. Assuming he has a heart. I guess if you have ace king not a heart, you probably start folding. But then the thing is, then you make it more likely your opponent has a heart, so then... Did we also play our big here? We did. This hand I think can check still. Alright, this is gonna be like a 56-minute long video. But it was fun. And here I just don't... I think on the board pairs, I think we just want to bet this hand for value. I think you can also have some other shit. I don't know. It's hard to see him having a made hand here. But I think he's supposed to start calling non-made hands. Just because I don't think in practice he's checking back at 9s or 8s really ever. You probably should. Alright, let's look at my graphs, because why not? Let's see how much we're up on the session. Normally I probably won't do this too much, but I think this is like a funnier session. I'm really only up 115 on stars. That doesn't seem right. That actually could be right. No, I started the session sometime at 11, so it's going to evolve. So we actually might be down on stars, the more I think about it. Let's go this month. Yeah, we might be down on stars. Because I did get ace-jack suited in pre. Yeah, okay, on stars we are down 223 bucks. but we are down 800 in EV this session. $200, we're 650 above EV, and then on GG, it's always the worst when you think you're up more, but then you forget how bad you ran at the start of the session or something. And on GG, okay, on GG we are up $1,600 before Rick. So I don't know how much that comes out to, but pretty big winner. Pretty solid. Because I was downswinging yesterday, so we're still in the midst of our downswing. We're due 350 in a week. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna end it. I'm not playing a single hand right now. So, all right. Thanks everyone for watching. It's pretty funny. I don't know. Probably upload this one and do some review. Most of the other stuff, maybe I'll start doing a little more shorter and educational, and play less tables for that period of time, as opposed to just recording almost all my sessions and uploading them. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.